Hi Nikki, I'm Hannah and I'm a training and behaviour consultant with the breeding team. And we're going to show you a pregnancy scan now with Vixen. So Vixen here is performing a chin rest. And the chin rest is like a conversation between the dog and the handler, and it allows our dogs to have choice during their daily and veterinary care. So what we can see here is that when Vixen places her chin on the towel, that's her cue to Sophie that she's happy to be touched. If she was to lift her chin, that's her cue to say, just give me a minute, I just might need to check my environment before I go again. We do see her lifting her chin here periodically. That's just because she's practicing and Sophie's told her she's done a successful repetition and a food reward's coming.
She's so calm, beautifully calm and wonderfully laid. Look at her. She's like getting a wonderful massage.
Indeed.
It's like that, isn't it? Yeah. Do you do that with all the dogs?
We do indeed. It's something all of the dogs enjoy. It's an important part of our training program. So all of our dogs will be taught the chin rest or other similar behaviours to allow them to participate in daily and veterinary care. So it makes everyday things like grooming much more fun and things like vet visits much less stressful for everybody involved. It's also a great behaviour to hand over to our guide dog owners so they can do the dog's daily care at home and truly work in partnership with the dog.
Hi Nikki, I'm Sarah and I'm a training and behaviour consultant. And basically I'm going to be showing you how we create these amazing life changes with the help of some of my colleagues. We have Gemma with Pippa, the Golden Retriever. We've got Chris and Biscuit, the Lab Retriever cross. And then my helpers, Kelly and Rachel.
Yeah, okay, so how do you train a guide dog?
Good question. So what we basically do is we use reward-based training. We train 37 different behaviours to make a fully fledged guide dog. And those behaviours are split up into 3 different sections. So we've got core behaviours, which is the behaviours that underpin all of our training. So ensuring that our dogs are going to be able to go into different environments and be able to focus on their job. Then we've got non-working behaviours, which are the behaviours that our dogs do when they're on their lead and collar, so not in harness. And then we've got our working behaviours, which are the ones that our dogs are famous for.
Like what? Self-control?
So, self-control is actually one of our core behaviours, and this is what Gemma and Chris are currently practicing. So you might be able to see we've actually got bits and pieces of the dog's daily food allowance.
Can I stop you there? I've got a 14-year-old, very nearly 14-year-old, delightful, wonderful, who's my best friend, Labrador Retriever, Maxwell, and nothing would stop him going for a discarded sandwich on the pavement. Nothing.
Absolutely.
So how do you deal with that?
I'm the same with chocolate, to be honest. But yeah, absolutely. So we start off really, really simple. So we've got the dog's daily allowance, food allowance, on the floor.
Yeah.
And we're teaching the dogs to actually be just really lazy around food.
Wow.
So food comes to them. They don't need to go towards the food. So basically, think of an emperor being fed grapes. That's basically our guide dogs. So we'll start off with a normal kibble on the floor. You can see Kelly's got a toy in her hand, so then we'll bring in toys. We'll then work up to human food, so those discarded sandwiches or litter, we'll bring all that in. So we have been known to raid some bins in our time.
I bet you have. It's fantastic. So what is the significance of the platforms?
Okay, so yeah, so the rectangular pieces of things on the floor, they are our platforms. Our dogs learn that these platforms are the best place to be. So basically, they learn that every time they get to a platform, they're going to get something nice, whether that's a toy, a food reward. It makes things very, very predictable, but also it actually leads on to other behaviours. So we can teach the dogs positioning. So obviously, when they are out with our guide dog owners, they actually need to always be straight with the handler, so the handler knows where they're going. So we can actually teach that on the platform by teaching the dogs even to keep their bum straight, their shoulders and their head. So it links into so many other different things.
So the self-control, and I guess there's also non-working behaviours as well.
Absolutely.
Right.
So the guys are going to demonstrate for you now one of our non-working behaviours. This is the behaviour under, and this basically is really, really useful for when our guide dog owners are in restaurants, cafes, on public transport. It gets them in a really nice tucked position, and it prevents those precious tails and paws getting trodden on.
Isn't that brilliant? How does the guide dog owner know what the guide dog is doing?
So that brings us over to our working behaviour. So we'll walk over to where Nicola is with guide dog India. So you can see we've got our famous white harness. And basically what we do is, before we talk about how a guide dog owner uses it, I need to talk about actually the associations that we use with these white harnesses. We want our dogs to really enjoy their job. So we teach our dogs to actually voluntarily put their head through their harness themselves rather than us put it on them. It creates a really, really positive association for the dog, but also it actually gives an element of choice.
Choice. That's really interesting. So what the concept of that, giving a dog the opportunity to choose something or not. Some people might think, well, what if they choose not to work?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually we found the opposite. Actually, the more choice we're giving our dogs to engage or not with training, we're actually finding the more that they will engage, because we teach them games. We make the training really, really fun and enjoyable to do, and at the end of the day, that's going to create happy trainers and happy dogs.
Yeah, so what else? What else do you treat them? Treat them. Give me a treat. I want a treat.
Okay.
What else is a part of their training?
Okay, so one of their main jobs is to find locations. So you see we've got a crossing box here with India and Nicola. And basically what Nicola's doing is she's charging up the location. And by that I mean she's making that location a really, really positive place to be, using a hand target and feeding the dog at the location. Once she's done that, what she'll do is just build up her distance between herself and the location, and then be able to end up working India to the platform.
That's amazing.
And then what she will do is she'll pick up her handle, and it's the handle that gives the guide dog owner all the information that they need. So that is attached to the dog's shoulders, and she'll be able to feel the movement of the dog's shoulders through that handle.